I'm going to show you the most amazing almond croissant recipe. It's actually a hack because you're going to start with store-bought croissants. I'm also going to do a tidy in my kitchen and take care of a couple of small projects. Hi, welcome to The Peaceful Home. I'm Teresa Elling and we cover all things home and family on this channel. Today it's almond croissants. Even if you are not a baker, if you have never baked a thing in your life, I guarantee you success with this recipe. These croissants are not only delicious, they are beautiful. For an afternoon tea time, having friends over for tea or coffee, or to give as a gift. This recipe is so fast, I'm gonna start by preheating my oven. 350 degrees, and you can begin to gather your supplies. You need a cookie sheet. Now I use an air bake sheet for almost everything, and I love it because of the double layer insulated with air. It does not brown or burn your cookies on the bottom, so it's amazing for that. But I also occasionally use a jelly roll pan with a sill pad. Now, if you're not familiar with these things, I will leave a link below for you. You'll need a mixer, a small bowl, some measuring cups, and measuring spoons, eggs, water, almond extract, sliced almonds, which are optional, small saucepan, almond flour, powdered sugar with a strainer, regular granulated sugar, croissants that you buy at the bakery. I got a half dozen for $4.98 and a cube of butter. There are 3 components to this recipe. First of all, the croissant. Second, a sugar syrup that you're going to base the croissants with, and then your almond paste filling. So in a small saucepan, you need 1 cup of water, 3/4 cup of granulated sugar, and I'm just estimating on this one. You don't need to be precise with this. And 1/8 teaspoon of almond extract. My measuring set only goes to 1/4, so I'll do about half of that. Almond extract is pretty strong. A little goes a long way. And this is going to go on the stove over high heat just to bring it to a boil and get that sugar dissolved. Remove the syrup from the heat, and while it's cooling, you need to split your croissants. You definitely need a serrated knife for this. Don't try to do it with a sharp, smooth edge. I'm going to use a pastry brush to brush each side of the croissant. And you can put this on pretty liberally and get it all the way to the edges. Set the croissants aside, and in your mixing bowl, you are going to take 3/4 cup of almond meal or almond flour. I like the blanched fine grind. If there's lumps, just kind of get those out of there. And again, an estimate of about 3/4 cup, 1/2 cup of sugar, 6 tablespoons of butter softened. Somehow, if I'm softening my butter in the microwave, I tend to melt it a bit. Add 1 egg. I'm starting to have to buy eggs because it's winter and our chickens just aren't quite laying the way that they do the rest of the year. A dash of salt. And now a whole 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. Mix this until it's creamy and smooth. Now comes the fun part. You can use a small rubber spatula or a frosting spreader, and you're gonna take this paste and I'm gonna spread it on the bottom. And I like to get it all the way to the edge. and then go ahead and put the top right back on. And then you'll have a little bit more room on your cookie sheet. With this last bit, I kind of divide the paste into half, knowing that half needs to cover the top of 3 croissants. So I'll take about a third of that. And now this time I'm not taking it quite to the edge. I'm keeping it a little bit more in the middle. And another third. You really can't mess this up. It can get a little bit messy and sloppy, but there's really no way to do this neatly or perfectly. If you'd like to add sliced almonds, now is the time. I don't care for the crunch of the sliced almond on my almond croissants. And this is another reason I love baking them at home rather than getting them at a bakery. But a lot of people really enjoy this little bit of crunch on the top. So I'm gonna do half of these with the almonds and half plain. I also like to go back over everything with the syrup. So I just kind of dot this on the top, getting the edges of the croissant, the parts that are dry. I'm really soaking these pretty well, and it's dripping down the sides. Now these are ready to go into the 350-degree oven just on a middle shelf for 10 to 12 minutes. Anytime you're baking, use the lower baking time. You can always bake it for longer, but you can't undo it if it's overdone. While these are cooking, I'm gonna tidy up and then get ready to take all the pictures down from my shelves and clean those. Just want to show you how disgusting these are. One of them had like 15 flies in the bottom. It was so gross. This is what happens, especially when things are high up on shelves in a kitchen, because the grease from cooking rises and sticks to everything. Well, this is real life. I got impatient. I'm filming. I want to move on to my other projects. And so I thought, you know what, I'll just do a quick broil on the top. And look, I forgot, I didn't set a timer and burnt the tops, but I'm gonna see if there's a way we can fix these. While they're cooling, I'm gonna go over and take care of my tea area. Let me show you what we're doing. I've done many videos showing my coffee bar. It's kind of a mess right now after the holidays, and I decided I just want to give this entire area to my daughter. That's her espresso machine. She makes coffee every morning, and I'm going to set up the top of this dresser as my little tea station. And right now, all of my tea is pretty unorganized, so I'm going to go through all of this in just a bit. I organized these sweeteners that I keep on hand for guests, and cleaned out the tea caddy. Also, one of my favorite teas is Candy Cane Lane from Trader Joe's, but it's seasonal, so I stock up when I can around the holidays, and it comes in a box, so I decided to take it out and put it in a jar. I removed all the Pfaltzgraff from the coffee bar, and I'm displaying a little bit of it here. This caddy belonged to my grandmother, and it is perfect for holding all of my tea bags. I have the kettle here and some cups and saucers, and the jar is what holds all of my Candy Cane Lane green tea, which is so delicious. If you've never tried it, it has a really light peppermint taste. I finished with the coffee bar, taking down these 2 transferware platters that belonged to my great-grandparents. So obviously I treat those with care, and wipe down all of these shelves. They were very dusty. I was thinking that I would put all of my Pfaltzgraff away for this season, but then I remembered my shelves over the kitchen sink where I keep my white pitchers, and I realized I could put some of the Pfaltzgraff over there. So I'm trying to decide, what do you think? Should I store it for a bit or move the collection to this spot? Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts on this. Joanna was able to put her grain mill here and all of her coffee stuff in her own style. I think she did such a great job styling it. It looks terrific. Now, I told you you couldn't mess these up, but putting them under the broiler is not part of the recipe. So as long as you stick to the recipe, you should be good. This is what I get for being impatient, but it's such a good lesson for life in general. Things do not always go the way we want them to. And we have a choice in how to respond to those things. We can panic and freak out, or I just say, you know what, Lord, what are you trying to teach me in this with my foolishness? And receive his peace. I'm just trimming off the parts that are burnt on the top, and I'm going to whip up just a tiny bit more of the filling. To be honest, this part on the top is my favorite because it crackles and crystallizes, and it not only looks beautiful, it tastes really good. The ones with the almond slices did not get it quite as bad. So, have you got anything going on in your life right now that just doesn't seem to be working out the way you had planned? I think that is just often life, not sometimes, often. And we always have a choice to surrender and trust the Lord, or if we're depending on ourselves to make things better, I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't always work out so great for me, nor is it really designed to. We're designed to be in communion with God and walking this journey with him, not by ourselves. Back in the oven, not under the broiler. So you can see just the little bit of crystallization on this topping, and it's so delicious. These don't look half bad considering I torched them. This one looks terrible, but I'll eat that one. The last thing is to get a little bit of powdered sugar in a strainer and tap that over the top. Powdered sugar covers a multitude of sins. These look amazing now. Get these on a platter. They actually do look quite beautiful in spite of my blender. Oh, love that. I'm gonna take the ugliest one and try it out. That paste we put in the center melts in there just a little bit. Just as they should be, crunchy on the outside and flaky and buttery smooth on the inside. I already have my cup of tea. I'm gonna go put my feet up now. Enjoy the rest of my almond croissant. I hope you'll give this recipe a try, and let me know your thoughts on when things don't go your way. I did want to thank all of you for subscribing to my channel, watching my videos. I had just a huge kind of explosion over Christmas. You guys seem to love my thrifting series. Comment below if you have any other suggestions of things you would like to see me cover in the future. I was watching my subscribers climb daily, and it was amazing. I appreciate you all so much. I'm close to 5,000. So if you can share with a friend and see if they would be interested in subscribing, that would help the channel out tremendously. Thank you so much for joining me today on The Peaceful Home. Have a great day. Well, what's the verdict? Yeah?
10 out of 10.
Awesome.